Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to calculate the average for this salary column. Now to get started, it's very simple. Go into the cell where you want the average, type equal to and start typing average. Now you might notice that there are other options also when you type average. It says average A, average if, average ifs and D average. Now, we'll get to those in just a moment, but let's start with the basic average formula. Once you have the average formula initiated, it's going to ask you for number 1 and number 2, and then it says ... Now you have two options here. You can either select the numbers one by one, separated by a comma, and you will get the average for those numbers, or the second option is to select a range for which you need to calculate the average. So here in this case, we have an average of 22,466.67 for this entire column. So that was the average formula. By the way, if you are finding this video helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. Now to start with average A, again type equal to, go to average A and open the bracket. Now it's going to ask you for the values. Go ahead and select the exact same range and hit enter. It's going to give you the same answer as average for now, but let me tell you the difference that it causes. Now let's say that Megan was not available during this month. Let's go ahead and say X or absent or whatever it might be. Here is where you can see that there is a difference between average and average A. So what exactly is going on here? To explain this, let's go ahead and sum up this column. So the total sum of this column is 289,000. But this 289,000 is consisting of how many cells? We have 14 cells here. So if I divide this by 14, we are going to have an answer of 20,642, which is the average that we have here. However, if we go ahead and divide this by 15, which includes Megan, who is absent for the month, then we're going to have the average A, which is 19,266. So this is the crucial difference between the two. If you want the average to exclude the item that has a text field in it, then you need to use the average function. If you want to include the item that has a text field, then you need to use the average A function. Now you can imagine just how important it is to know the difference between average and average A, because if you are in a situation where you need to include or exclude that item or items, then using the wrong formula can be disastrous for your Excel data. Now let's see what average if does. To get started with average if, let's go ahead and type average if and open the bracket. If you've seen my previous videos on the if formula or the count if formula, you know that any formula that has the word if in it is just like how you would use it in English. If something happens, then something else should happen. It's a conditional formula. So here it's going to ask you for range, criteria and average range. Range is the data set where you're going to be looking for a criteria. So in this example, we're going to be searching for the average salary for each department. So the range is going to be the entire department column. Let's go ahead and block it with the dollar signs. Hit comma, and now it's going to ask you for the criteria. What is the criteria? We want to search for each of the department's average salary. So now you can either link it to a cell where it has each department's name, or you can type in the criteria exactly as it is in the range within double quotes. So let's say HR and close the double quotes, click comma, and we want to select the average range, which is the entire salary column. Close the bracket, hit enter, and you're going to have 30,000 as the average salary for the HR department. So now we can quickly add up the two HR employees that are here, total salary of 60,000, and divide by 2 because there are 2 employees, and you're going to have the same answer that you got here. Like I said, there are two methods. One is you can type in HR, or you can also link it to a cell which has the information. So here I'm going to search for customer support. It's going to give you a salary average of 32,500 for customer support. We can also have individual cells separately labeled here for each of the departments so that you can just very easily have averages for each of the departments. So let's go ahead and change the formula a little bit. Link the criteria to this column and hit enter. Now you can see that customer support has 32,500, accounts has 20,875, operations has 18,357, and HR, as we know, has 30,000 as the average. Now let's have a look what AVERAGEIFS does. So AVERAGEIFS is very similar to AVERAGEIF. The only difference is that AVERAGEIF can have only one criteria. AVERAGEIFS can have multiple criteria. So in this case, let's see what the average salary is for each department as well as the designation in that department. So we're going to have the average for customer supports managers salary as well as customer supports assistant managers salaries. But in this case, we only have one employee, so that's not going to make much of a difference. But if you go down here, we have multiple operations departments executives, and we will get those salaries separated. So the first thing that's going to ask you for is average range, which is the amount column. Criteria range 1. So we're going to be looking for the range for the first criteria. That is the department. What is it that we are looking for in that department? That is customer support, just here. Click comma and it's going to ask you for the criteria range 2. So the second range that we are going to be selecting is the designation range. Hit comma and it's going to ask you for the second criteria, which is here, which is a manager. Let's click enter and see what we have. It's given you the average for all the customer support managers, which is 43,000 because there is only one. Now let's have a look for the operations executives since there are multiple. So let's go ahead and type equal to AVERAGEIFS. Select the average range, which is the salary per month column, comma, criteria 1 range, which is the department column, comma, what is the criteria? We're going to select the operations department as the criteria 1. The criteria 2 range, which is going to be the designation column, comma, and what is the criteria 2? It's going to be the executives. If we close the bracket now, hit enter, is going to give you 8,250. Now let's make sure that this is correct. Let's say sum. Operations executives is what we are selecting. We have 4 operations executives. So close the bracket, divide by 4. It should give us the answer 8250. And there you have it. Now when it comes to D-average, I would like to make a separate video on that, including D-count, D-count A. We also have D-sum and so on. So to watch that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Now click here to watch my video on the count tutorials and click here if you want to learn about the if formula. If you found this video helpful, as I said, please don't forget to hit the like button. That really helps me out a lot. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.